Welcome back, everyone. It has been a while since my first video for several reasons. First one is I don't really have a lot of stuff to do a lot of videos, so I'd rather make a video where I have a fair bit of content in it than, you know, one every couple of weeks where I haven't made much progress. Plus life, we get busy, all of that. So anyway, even though it's not New Year anymore, I hope you liked my little Happy New Year video because it is my first one of the year. I'm going to show you, if you watched my first video, you saw my Christmas bunting that I was trying to get ready by Christmas, and I did. So here is the finished product. I know, I just heard some of you draw in your breath sharply. Is this beautiful or what? I should come closer. This was just so lovely to do. It was fun. It'd be a great thing to do throughout the year. And the back, I just used, it's not Christmas fabric, I just used a red upholstery fabric I had, which I think I've bought to make another project bag, and I got a little bit extra for this. I'm really happy with my bunting. I had it up. I only got it finished a few days before Christmas, but I put it up for anyone who came over to visit. They just thought it was the most adorable thing, and for those of my friends who didn't come to visit, I actually sent them pictures because I was so chuffed. And I've been a bit slack with Christmas stitching. If you remember in my first video, I had given a lot of things away because it is lovely to give things away, and when they're handmade, there's so much that goes into it. But like I also said in my first video, I'm a selfish stitcher now. So I make things just for me because I've got to that time in my life where I realise I'm not going to have forever to get everything done that I want. So I just stitch for me, and I'm not going to apologise about it. So anyway, a few things. I've got a few things that I haven't given away over my life that I've hung on to, and recently I have been pulling them out of my storage box and finishing them. So this one I have finished, oh my goodness, 1996. Now I recall getting this, I'll show you. It's just a little, bit glary. It's just a little sampler. I think I did it over a week, one colour, couldn't tell you what. It came in a magazine. I've got a feeling it may have come out of a Family Circle magazine, because obviously it's very basic. And I just grabbed a frame from, this may even have been from Kmart, framed that one. This other one also, no, this was a chart. I'm not sure if I still have the chart for this. If I do, I will insert it. That's a bit sloppy of me, but anyway, I finished this one as well. This one I've done over a decade ago, but only just finished it in the last, since Christmas. This frame is from IKEA. I seem to like the black frames, although I have got some other stuff framed in a dark wooden frame, but I'll save that for another time. So this one's really pretty. I like the shades in it. I tend to like dirtier more muted shades. I'm not a bright, vibrant person when it comes to colour. And that's probably because that's the same with my clothing. I don't have the complexion to wear, you know, bright yellow and orange. It washes me out. The other cute one that I did, because as you know, Flosstube has just been the most wonderful enabler, because I was a one project kind of girl and there was a lot I wasn't getting done, and I like the idea now of working on other things in between the big projects, or even having designated nights. I have got a big Hands Across the Sea sampler that I'm working on, and I would have had that finished last year if I hadn't have found Flosstube. It's been just such an eye-opener. So many firsts. It's like being 16 again. Anyway, I saw this on Pinterest. There's no pattern, no chart. I just sat down and just did it. So I thought this was very cute. This was my first Q-snap. It's so tiny that really it can only be good maybe for Christmas ornaments and things like that. So I love how tight you can get your work in it, but it's not very practical for anything bigger than this, because I did struggle, and I mean, it will serve a purpose for small pieces. So this was all stitched 1/1. In fact, I think I stitched this whilst watching a movie. It was very quick, and I just used a picture off Pinterest and chose my own colours. And I do love gin. So I have that. The other thing is I had never done a stitch along, a sal as you all love to say. I love the idea of it. Was a little concerned about being committed, because there are some rules I like to break and there are some I like to stick to. So if I committed to a sal, I'd feel the pressure to have to constantly, oh my goodness, I haven't done this month, I haven't done this month. Because I know that that structure, those boundaries will let me get the work finished. So some of them looked a little more complex, and I knew I wouldn't have the time to be able to devote to a big sal. So I found a really lovely one. I've followed this stitcher in the UK for a while, Modern Folk Embroidery. Beautiful work. It's got a Scandi hint to it. And most of the work is just done in one colour. So he, oh my goodness, I can't remember his name. Lovely guy, very talented, does beautiful work. Released a sal, and I thought, why not? 4 seasons. Even though the motifs are not Southern Hemisphere friendly, it's still very pretty, and I love that Scandinavian look, so I decided I would join the sal. I will insert the gridding for it, which I'm not going to go ahead and do. I will just include that each time the month is released. So it is a monthly release, and this is mine so far. Okay, so this is the top of winter. I just pulled it out of my frame. So we've got one, this was the 2nd month, and this is obviously March here, which I just started the other day. I've been doing this in front of the television as well. It's actually a really easy stitch, and even though it looks like a lot, it's not really. There's quite enough space between all of the motifs to get it done. I usually, well, I shouldn't say usually, I've only done 2 months of it, have completed it in the first week of the month. But we'll see. Things change, but I will stick with this. I will definitely get it completed each month, because I really love the idea of this stitch along. Obviously that's why people have them, because they're enjoyable. But it's all new to me. Very exciting. all my little stitchy community who I don't see, but we all know we belong to this community, and it's like our catching up with our friends. So, another new start. My dear friend, my dear girlfriend, was in England over Christmas. And as we all know, that beautiful French embroidery shop, I had my eye on things in there. I had a full cart of all their botanicals, the fruit botanicals I wanted to stitch, but to send it to Australia was going to be eye-wateringly expensive. They also couldn't promise me that they would send a tracked package with any kind of security, and for around 30 euros a chart, I wasn't going to risk that. So whilst my friend was in the UK, I got 3 of them posted to her so she could just bring them back in her luggage. So this is the first one. I have got the Cherries. Now I know Elena B went to this shop when she went on her bakery trip with her father, and she picked up some beautiful things from this shop as well. So we've got the cherries here. I just love botanicals of any kind. I used to do a lot of painting and also calligraphy, and I would do botanical work all the time. So I've started this one. So these are the cherries. I just think they're beautiful. I love them. So I hope to get that done. Well, I don't know. I'd like to finish them this year, but the truth is there's 3 others as well. Now, I also got my friend to bring me back. Here are the raspberries. I do apologise about the light. We've got one of these, because we live in a subtropical area, we'll get beautiful tropical rain, which will go for days, just heavy, steady rain. So the light isn't so great because I generally use natural light, but I've had to put the light on in here, so my apologies. I'll actually insert the chart as well from the website. And the third one I got were strawberries. Now these are semi-kits, so they come with the fabric, which is, I don't know what colour you would call that. It's kind of a dirty colour, so right up my alley. And it also comes with a really cute little dragonfly charm. I had asked them if they would just sell the chart, but realised that that's not how it does it. These are charts by Veronique. I don't know how you say that, Veronique Enginger, and she does beautiful work. I just adore her work. So those charts, I just was so excited to receive those. I also did purchase one of her books. So this one is retro stitching, and it's in English. I have got my eye on a few more of her books. It's not a problem that it's in French. I mean, it's not hard to understand most of the basic. The charts that I got are in French, but I mean, there's about 10 words. Most of them, you know, a few you can just look up on Google Translate. So this book is just the sweetest little book. I do have one criticism. There's not enough pictures of the finished work. So a lot of them you have to just go by the chart. I love to see pictures. I also love a recipe book that has pictures. So for me, I was slightly disappointed, but not enough to tarnish my love affair. So I will show you some pictures. So we've got cute little motifs Obviously you can do and make whatever you want from them. So this is sailing motifs, marine, little boys in their sailor suits. And very quickly, see, all the pages are just like that, they're charts. So we've got sewing. In fact, at the beginning, I will show you, these are the contents. But there are a lot of motifs in each category. So A Touch of Nostalgia has the sewing, the sailor. It has a lot of Victorian looking dressing table objects, beautiful mirrors, and I mean it's even got compacts and soap with bubbles on it, a hair comb, all kinds of cute looking French things, some samplers. I'll just try and get some more pictures. But it's gorgeous. If you were somebody who made a lot of cards, this book would be really good for that. I like the idea that they've done there where they've put things on top of storage boxes, because I do like me a good storage box. So this is purses and little clutch bags in just the loveliest colours. I do love Veronique's work. It's just so beautiful, and I've seen a gorgeous Christmas, my charts are falling down. I've seen a gorgeous Christmas book of hers I want to get. Oh, the light is terrible. I do apologise. I do love a good book. I mean, to be honest, even if I never stitch out of this, I will still look through this book and get great joy and satisfaction from it. See, people don't always understand that. And I think part of the allure of a book like this is you almost feel as if you have got the work already completed in your house simply by having it there. And I'm like that with sewing. As you can see, I've been doing some of my sewing, getting ready for winter, if you can call it that here. But, you know, I'll organise a sewing pattern, I'll get the fabric, and I feel like I already have the item, and I feel better already, that feeling that I've bought something. I mean, consumerism really has got its grip on us, hasn't it? But, you know, you still have to go through and do the work. See, this is, they've got a lot of those vintage looking, I mean, it is a retro book, but those old European skiing shots and lodges and vintage postcard kind of look. Really cute. It does say that there's 500 patterns in here, so that's enough to keep anybody busy. And it would also be good for someone starting out. It would be a good gift for someone who's just learning to do stitching and probably needs smaller motifs to keep their mojo going. A big project can be a bit daunting if you're starting out because you don't see, the end isn't in sight. Do you see what I mean? That lovely vintage look. Although I should say retro because that's what the book is called. Oh, lots of chocolate and bakery stuff, which makes me think of Elena B, sorry. Oh, chocolate bars, tins of cocoa, hot chocolate, even a jar of Nutella without Nutella written on it, but we know it's Nutella. Very clever. Even a milk jelly mould. Oh, pastries, cups of tea, lollies, coffee pots. I can't stand coffee, but there's heaps in here on coffee. Then the sweets shop, biscuits, lollies, whisking, baking, vintage teapots, some botanicals. We'll have to do one of those. So here's a few. So she's done some napkins here. And there's one of the botanicals. It has my name on it immediately. Some of the coffee and the tea. I mean, I'm never going to be making some of these things, but I do feel better just looking at them. Oh, lots of vintage little Victorian looking girls and boys toys and outfits. You know, all those stereotypical things. So if you're a bit of a traditionalist and like to stick to pink for girls and blue for boys, although let's be honest, you can choose whatever colour you like. Oh, and a lot of Victorian evening entertaining, so cocktails, pianos. I really love that idea. I do feel that there isn't always a great nightlife for us who are no longer clubbing as teenagers. Not here on the Gold Coast anyway. Brisbane's a little bit better, and if you go to Melbourne, Adelaide, Sydney, they have a nice nightlife. But I love the idea of getting dressed up and sitting at a table with a dim light and having a cocktail and listening to some good music. Can't really happen here on the Gold Coast. We did find the Gold Coast Jazz Club, and this was quite funny. So you buy a ticket, head along. Tables of 10, so we had, I think, 6 of us. So we shared a table with the oldest ladies I've ever seen, wearing every bit of jewellery that they own, dressed to the nines, but having the loveliest night. Just had the best fun, asking us all these questions. All their husbands had died, so they go out, they keep themselves social. And I thought, you know, if I was 40 years older, this would be the place to be, but not really what I was looking for. We had a good time. The food was for that generation. I mean, you could even order steak and kidney pie. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it was very suited to that demographic. Well, we tried it, but we won't be going back because really it was full. It was like being in an aged care home. So the energy was a lot lower because even though everyone was having a really great time, they were just sitting there and enjoying the music. There wasn't that lovely humming of chatter and a higher energy that, well, I guess my age group would bring. So anyway, tried that. This was another little book. I mean, internet shopping can be quite dangerous. I was up one night and going through, I think, Booktopia, and I saw this. Now, I do love me a good monogram, and this one covers so many. But it's very skinny, and I can't show you inside because there's not one picture. It's just all charts. So this is charted monograms for needlepoint and cross stitch, edited by Rita Weiss, or if we may be being more accurate, it would be Rita Visa. I'll give you a real quick squeeze. The whole book is like that. It's just filled with all the different charts of monograms. So this could also be good for an ornament. Could be good for lots of things. And I do want to monogram something. I'm not sure yet, but I want to get around to that. Another dangerous evening on the phone under dim lit phone light in the middle of the night. I have been dangerously collecting Christmas charts. I'll show more of them toward the end of the year when we're getting our Christmas mojo back. Now, this company I had never heard of before. And when I saw these charts, I didn't care how much it was. In fact, they're kits, which was just so exciting. And when I say kits, it's got everything in it. It's 3D cross stitch. So this is by the Nutmeg Company. Now, a quick little thing, I adore setting up for Christmas. It's a cultural thing. I'm not a religious person, but it's a beautiful way for us to break up the summer, and everything that's wrapped around Christmas is what we love. Festivities, taking stock of everything that's happened throughout the year, enormous amounts of food and lovely cocktails, friends, family, everything. Gift buying. I know that we should be a little more mindful of our consumerism, but I love giving gifts. It is a way that I show love. I also show love through food. I'm a pretty good cook. I don't have an Etsy account for, an Instagram account for stitching. It's full of food because I love to cook and I take pictures of food. And I have a Thermomix. If you're not aware, it's this kitchen machine. It's incredible. So I belong to a Thermomix community and I put all my Thermomix and food pictures on Instagram. So this is my only stitching avenue because we could unleash a monster if I just get involved in everything. This is the Nutmeg Company 3-dimensional cross-stitch design, and I got the 2 Christmas collections. Now they are Northern Hemisphere, they're from England because the Christmas is cold, there's a fireplace, but I just had to have this. I'll put the picture up from the website because it's a little easier to look at. I just love the idea of setting up because I started to tell you, I have a huge Christmas collection of Christmas nutcrackers. I have a Limax Christmas village. I have a Villeroy and Bosch, tea light candle, all of their collections in another spot in the house. And so now I want to do stitching. So this one is the night before Christmas. It's a kit. So I didn't mind paying for it. It wasn't the cheapest for me all the way here underneath the bottom of the planet. But because it comes with everything, I can justify it. The second one is called Christmas Morning. Just adorable. I love the idea of 3D. They have got a lot of other things too, like they have little 3D English villages where you can get a shop and the butcher and the candy store and things like that. Have a church and all of those things. Just gorgeous and quaint and beautiful. So I had to have those, and I'm going to start. I don't know if I'll have this done. I do want to have one of these done by Christmas, but I think I'll start my Christmas stitching in the second half of the year. But I do want to set up another corner of the house that has cross stitch for Christmas, because I do have some other, the gingerbread village. I do have a piece that needs to go in from that as well. So I think that's everything I needed to show you. I had a couple of notes. Done that. Found a few more new floss tubers. Of course, there's people popping up all the time, and there's a lot that I still haven't watched. Julie from Gulf Coast Stitching, which caught my attention because initially I thought it was Gold Coast, which is where I am, but it's Gulf Coast. She's based in the US. She showed the most beautiful charts of these 2 birds. They're crows. One's called Ida May crow and the other is Ira Ray crow. And Julie directed us towards an Etsy store by The Good Housewife, or she's written it as The Good Housewife. Anyway, it's spelled that way. I'll put the link in now. Immediately as she's speaking, because I was watching the Flosstube on my laptop while I was doing my sewing, I'm on my phone getting through Etsy. I need these charts because we just adore birds, and these just looked gorgeous to be side by side. And the chart is gone. My heart sank because, you know, I had to have it. Now I don't know what to do. So this is a shout out. I'm going to insert them here. And anyone who has a copy or knows, or even The Good Housewife, I actually should send her a message, obviously. I want these charts. So anyway, the Golf Stitcher, thank you for showing me that. Now, of course, I want it even more because it's not available. And Julie also showed us where she lived, on the water. Beautiful spot. She was sitting in a glorious sunroom showing her beautiful stitching. So that was enjoyable to watch. Of course, Christine from Stitch All the Things. For some reason, I just feel like Christine is my friend. That if we lived nearby, we'd be catching up, you know, going out, maybe see a movie if we could pull ourselves away from our stitching. She showed a chart the other day that also made me gasp sharply and have an intake of breath with my mouth open. And it was a Russian chart, also from an Etsy store called From Samplers and Stories. And it was Herbal Grimoire, which I'll insert here. That was another case of, whilst Christine was still talking, I just picked up my phone, went to Etsy and pressed buy. Love it. So I did send her a message and tell her that she is an enabler, of which she refused to apologise. And I love that because this is fun. This brings me great joy, bringing more stuff into my house. But I must say, I have seen a lot of people's stash, and I know I don't have that much. So I feel, and I can justify, that I have enough stash to complete in my lifetime. I'm not getting out of control yet. Very hard not to, because I'll think, well, I've got enough, and I'll do a little bit of a plan. For example, I know I'm going to finish my French botanicals. I still need to buy the 3 more that I want, but I know I will finish those. I think sometimes it is good to sit a little bit when you do see a chart. Do I want it, don't I? Or am I just being like a kid in a candy store and I feel like I have to have it, but will I actually stitch it? Some of the full coverage charts I've seen I want, but I don't know if I'm going to do a full coverage chart. Although there is some beautiful work on Stitch Mania. Speaking of Stitch Mania, that got a little bit crazy, but all groups do. I mean, I belong to quite a few groups in other areas. I mean, even my Thermomix cooking group, where there'll be some sad ass people that get on and just want to shake everything up. Even the comments and the thumbs down that I've got from my first video, I shouldn't even mention them because I've just given them some oxygen. I don't care. Not everyone's going to love you. That's just how life is. I don't love everyone either. I'm not going to turn around and tell them that. But some people feel that they need to. Anyway, Christine did a lovely Flosstube video on the whole Stitch Mania drama. Nothing more needs to be said because I think she actually explained it all perfectly. Elena B, I did want to just let her know that I showed one of my daughters her ceiling with the oranges, and my daughter is beside herself. So I know it's a stitching channel, but the interior decorating has spread its wings and travelled to Melbourne in Australia, and my daughter's still only young. She's heading off to the Air Force, so she doesn't have her own place yet. But she's determined she's going to put oranges on the ceiling of one of her rooms at some stage in her life. So anyway, we have the Commonwealth Games coming up here next month. From this week, they've restricted all of our traffic, so I'm going to be quite housebound. I usually am anyway, because we work from home. I decided to take on extra study because as soon as the children left home, I thought, oh, free time. So I'm doing a master's, but I actually love it because it's not pressure study. You know, the first time round, it's just to get a job. This one's in a completely different field. I've been in finance before, which is so not me. I'm getting involved in counselling, and I'm on a placement at the moment. So the logistics of that are going to be a little bit icky with the Commonwealth Games, but I'm so excited to have the event here. Everyone's complaining about it, and I'm like, why? Just get on with it. Everyone has to do it. This is how the world works. So I am trying to find... Oh, sorry, low battery. I'm trying to find some cute merchandise, and it's always so tacky and vulgar. I like to collect tea towels whenever we travel or go anywhere because that's easy. It doesn't take up any space. Haven't found one. Did see a cute key ring, but anyway, I'll keep my eye out for that. So, everyone, hope you're having a wonderful autumn for Australia. Anyone in the Southern Hemisphere, we just ticked over into autumn. I do like the in-between seasons, aren't I silly? I call autumn and spring in between because to me winter and summer are the more important ones. Hate winter. I'm a summer person. I'm a warm weather girl. Celebrated my birthday last month. That was fun. And autumn's been nice. Just takes that edge off the summer heat that can get a little draining. But I also get a bit upset because it means we're heading into the cold weather, and I don't like being cold. I don't like the shorter days. I don't like having a shower or a bath and getting out and my feet get cold. I don't like it. I don't like having the house closed up. I like fresh air. I'm an air sign. I need to have the air flowing through the house. I need long, hot summer days. But anyway, I've been through enough winters to know how to cope. I will still whinge. For all of you in the Northern Hemisphere, you've just ticked over into spring. How lucky are you? So that's going to bring a whole heap of renewed energy. So we'll be seeing some lovely stitching from everyone as their energy increases and they get their mojo. So everybody take care. Everybody enjoy their stitching. And I'll see you next time. Bye.